Students, you better go to college. If you want to succeed, you have to go to college. The president says it to high school kids.
I'm expecting everybody here to go to college, everybody here to succeed.
Succeed means make more money.
Graduates from four-year colleges earn nearly twice as much as high school graduates. An estimated $1 million more.
$1 million more. But that claim is deceitful.
College was a ripoff.
I definitely feel like it was a scam.
A scam because that $1 million statistic leaves out some important facts. Also, college is supposed to be a great marketplace of ideas, but as this movie explains,
academia today is not a marketplace at all. It's a monopoly.
One where you get shouted down if you have the wrong idea.
If that isn't saying...
So you better watch what you say.
Brown University bans speech that might make someone feel angry, impotent, or disenfranchised. Colby College outlawed anything that could lead to a loss of self-esteem. Be careful who you turn down for a date.
If you don't think that way, well, you're closed-minded.
You are not a good person.
It's a reason that one entrepreneur pays students $100,000 if they'll drop out of college. That's right, drop out. The college scam. That's our show tonight.
And now, John Stossel.
All right, how can I have titled this show The College Scam? I mean, everyone knows college graduates earn more money. And why wouldn't they? They've learned stuff. They've made contacts. And yet, now, more students do say college was just not worth it.
I definitely feel like it was a scam.
College was a ripoff, and nothing against, my college or my professors, but I was misinformed.
Misinformed? Well, what about? Well, let me ask my audience. Would you raise your hand if you went to college? Most everybody, except the kids there. So, how many of you took on debt in college? All right, how much debt did you take on?
About $70,000.
Aha! Hence the problem. Is it possible that some of these nice people got suckered? $70,000, he says. This gentleman in the audience knows someone who was $300,000 in debt after graduate school. Yes, they have been suckered in many cases, says Dr. Richard Vedder, author of Going Broke by Degree, Why College Costs Too Much. And it does cost too much, says Naomi Schaifer Riley, who's just published a book that's also not kind to the college experience, The Faculty Lounges and Other Reasons Why You Won't Get the College Education You Paid For. So what do you mean you don't get the college education you paid for? I assume for all this money you get what you paid for.
Nah. No, what happens is that higher education is a game of prestige, and you earn prestige by having your professors do research. So whereas you think you're paying for them to be in the classroom with you, every additional hour a professor spends in the classroom, he gets paid less. The incentives are all for more research.
And the research into these obscure, tiny topics, how many angels can dance on the head of a pin that nobody reads?
Absolutely. So most of the public thinks that research is, cutting-edge drug research or Sputnik. In fact, UT Austin this week was publicizing a study that showed that athletes recover faster after drinking chocolate milk than after drinking sports drinks. So that's what your taxpayers are funding.
Along the same lines, there were 20...
Well, I just want to say that was actually more useful than I thought your example would be. That's useful information.
Well, just along the same lines, a chap down at Emory University counted the number of articles written on William Shakespeare in the last 25 years. The number, he stopped counting after 21,000. What would society have been like if only 1,000 articles had been written? The man died in 1615.
But the reward system in colleges is to encourage more articles.
The incentive is always to say something new. So even if the old things were pretty good, the incentive is always to find some obscure way of saying something new.
But what if you're a really good teacher and you're good at imparting knowledge to students? Doesn't that make you more money?
You'll get paid less.
I would say
and you won't get tenure either.
Yeah, that's the trouble. You might not get tenure.
All right, Richard, Hillary Clinton, we just heard her. and it's from census data, it's true, the average college grad makes over a lifetime $1 million more. Sounds like that's an argument that you should go to college.
Well, first of all, I think it's a little less than $1 million, but putting that minor point aside, the people that go to college are a different kind of people than those who graduate from high school
Leave that
and
out
don't.
of that study.
Yeah, I mean, they're disciplined more. The kids that go to college, they're smarter. They did better in high school. They have better academic credentials.
They would have probably made $1 million more if they had never gone to college, if they had been drinking chocolate milk the whole time.
Yes, that's it.
And a lot of people are going to college who are not suited for that kind of learning. They have a miserable time, they feel stupid about themselves, and they don't graduate.
Well, that's an important point. 45%, roughly, of the people that enter four-year colleges and universities don't graduate, not in 4 years, not in 5 years, but in 6 years.
So almost half, not
close to half. Close to half, yeah.
And it's not just the student's fault. I think in part it's the professor's fault too. I mean, what happens is you're an 18-year-old and you enter college and they hand you a 500-page book and they say, pick anything you want. There are no core requirements. There's no sense of why you're there. There are no foundational classes. It's just choose your own adventure. And you would think that the professors would want to take an interest in these undergraduates and help get them through that. But they're off doing their own thing.
It's more fundamental than that. Why do the colleges accept them in the first place, some of these students? Why are our nation's leaders saying everyone should go to college?
Why?
When 45% are flunking out. And we can identify ahead of time who some of those are going to be. A person who's in the bottom quarter of their high school graduating class who wants to go to a high-quality school is not likely to succeed. So why do we push them in that direction?
Well, I see why the colleges want them, because the kid comes attached to money.
Yeah.
Well, the colleges identify those students right away. About half of the students entering Cal State last year needed remedial education in either English or math.
There's also a huge number of kids who are graduating successfully from college now, who go out in the job market, and what do they get? There are 80,000 bartenders in the United States with bachelor's degrees. Now, I have nothing against having a person with a bachelor's degree mix me my margarita or my Long Island iced tea. But
I prefer it.
Yeah, other things equal, I guess that's kind of nice. But should society be pushing people to go to college to end up making margaritas? You don't really need a college degree.
And your research also points out that 17% of baggage porters and bellhops have a college degree. 15% of taxi drivers.
That's right.
I still think the colleges need to justify what they're doing. I mean, even once the college graduates start getting more jobs more frequently and maybe more jobs that kind of fit their education, I still think the colleges need to justify what it is they're doing with our tuition dollars and our taxpayer dollars. I mean, the research grants are a problem, but it's also the fact that no reform is possible thanks to the tenured professors. They do not want to see less money coming in, and they don't want to sort of get away from their research. They don't want to get away from teaching some small number of advanced students.
And once they're tenured, no matter how bad they are as teachers or how lazy they get, they never get fired.
They never. You hear about the radical ones, but those people aren't the problems. The problems are the people who are just distracted and would rather not teach.
Okay, so as a consumer reporter, I can see you got institutions that don't deliver for their customers. What puzzles me is that why isn't the market punishing them? Because not only are they not delivering for many of the customers, but the price is going up faster, 4 times faster than inflation.
There's a lot of bad information out there. One of the big problems with colleges is we don't know whether the kids who are graduating know any more than the kids who began. We don't know if they learned anything. Do kids learn anything at Harvard? People at Harvard tell us they do. The Wall Street investment firms will hire Harvard graduates for the reasons we mentioned a few minutes ago, and they're bright people to begin with. They were bright when they entered Harvard. But do we know the seniors know more than the freshmen? There's a lot of data out there that show that learning among college graduates is declining. The literacy rate among college graduates is lower today than it was 15 or 20 years ago. And
they're not studying as many hours.
It's kind of hard for people to respond in a market fashion when you don't have full information about what's going on.
But we also need to be smarter consumers. I mean, how many people do you know who went to visit colleges in the middle of the summer? What do you learn? Are there any classes in session? Did you meet any teachers? Did you talk to anyone about what the classroom experience is like?
I learned about the architecture. I learned that the students can talk while walking backwards and leading a tour.
Absolutely, and great chocolate milk.
We hear these bad things about colleges, and yet, during the Obama administration, just these few years, the number of students getting Pell Grants is expected to rise 50%.
To compete, higher education must be within the reach of every American.
And even a sensible, supposedly conservative, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie says college is a must.
Graduating from high school is just the first step. It's not the last step. We need to get you to college and get you ready for college, get you to college, and get you graduated from college.
So you two need to work harder. You're not getting your message out.
That's right. We will. We will.
On that note, thank you, Richard Vedder, Naomi Schaifer Riley. Later, I'll confront someone from my college. Princeton always hounds me for money, but I never give, and I'll tell them why. Maybe then they'll stop asking me after tonight.